Mighty number 9.
All right. This is Mighty number 9. The Mighty number 9 review. I'm just going to be talking about, the various things I talk about in my reviews. Gameplay, graphics, music, and then my overall thoughts about it. As you know, if you're a old viewer, or as you might not know if you're a new viewer, I don't give numerical scores for my games. I tell you why I like it or why I don't like it, or why I felt someone else's review was fair or not fair, and then I just keep it rolling along. So, without much ado, let's get into it. And keep in mind, during this review, I will not be using my personal dislike of Keiji Inafune and how he handled a lot of the aspects of this game. I won't be treating that. I will be treating it. I will not. That will not be an aspect of how I score this game. So keep that in mind, and I don't want anyone being like, "Oh my God, how dare you do this?" So without much ado, let's get into the review. And keep in mind, I will not be using Keiji Inafume's actions as a score point of my review. So let's get to it. Okay then, I'll have some actual gameplay of me playing the Dynamo stage, the electric station, whatever stage, so let's get through with this. This game, gameplay-wise, what it basically plays like is if Mega Man and Mega Man X had a baby. Mega Man and Mega Man X had a baby, and then that baby didn't play quite as well as either one of those two games, and that's what this game plays like. And it had like an online aspect where you could like play the game with people who also had the game and like do scores and stuff. So like I said, the gameplay plays like a combination between those two games. You've got a dash in the style of Mega Man X. You've got a kind of a low dash in the style of the leg, the Mega Man's low kick thing that he had, slide dash that he had in Mega Man, NES Mega Man game. So, I mean, you have a buster cannon thing in the style of, say, in the style of Mega Man, the original Mega Man games. No charge shot, but just standard buster shots. I mean, the game is not terrible. It's really not. The gameplay is not terrible. Like I said, it's kind of like a lower. If you want to compare the gameplay of this game, think of a slightly lower tier Mega Man game, like one of the Mega Man games that they just didn't. They didn't care as much about playing it, so making it, if you will. So, but it's not bad. It's really not a bad game. The gameplay is. Now, I have to be fair, I have to be honest with you. This game is slightly harder. Is slightly harder than the other Mega Man games I've played. Not because the game itself is hard, but because, in my mind, I'm trying to play it like a Mega Man game, when this is not a Mega Man game. It's different enough that you have to change up how you play. Now, fortunately, once you get the cryosphere weapon, this game gets a lot easier because you can basically freeze enemies, get them ready to absorb their abilities, and then it's like really friggin' easy. This weapon makes everything else so much easier. That being said, The game does have some issues that I'll get into now. Frankly, like I said, there's some frame rate issues that kind of mess up gameplay. Now I have this on PC, but I've heard there were frame rate issues on all the other builds. So I think it's just, it's not really optimized for any platform. It's not optimized for PC, not optimized for PS4, not optimized for 3DS, and I don't even think they've gotten the 360 and PS3 builds out yet. I think this game should have been, like, maybe they should have just initially put it on the maybe on the current gen consoles, and then focused on the later gen consoles after the fact. So only 8th gen consoles, and I mean, to hell with PS4 and Xbox One. That's what I would have gone with. But people don't like to listen to what I have to say. That's all I'm saying. So yeah. Do I think the game is perfect? No. But I mean, gameplay-wise, it works, and you can stick with that or not, whatever makes you happy. So we'll get to the music portion after the cut. Okay then, so let's get to the music section. Now, this game, the music is kind of generic. It's not as good as, say, what we saw in the Mega Man series that this game is kind of calling back to. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Now, they're just... the music is kind of, I mean, it gets the job done, but it's not great. There are little touches, though, that do make this game very fun. Now, that's just how it is. Now, there are some issues that kind of do kind of crop up as the game goes along, and that is basically that the game is kind of the music. There are a few memorable tracks, mainly the tank stage track, OS soundtrack, the battle weapon soundtrack, and the shadow character soundtrack. Pretty cool. But I mean, overall, the game isn't terrible. It's just not. The soundtrack isn't terrible. It's just not as. It's not as catchy as, say, we've been used to, but whatever. So with that, let's get to the story after the cut. Okay then. So, as far as the story of this game goes, if you've played a Mega Man game, you should know this by heart. Um, a scientist creates a series of robots. They go insane due to some mysterious virus or some other robot has infected them with something and they've lost their damn mind. There's a slight twist with the story later on where it's not the bad guy isn't who you think it is, but still the overall the tropes are there. So essentially speaking, one of these robots decides that was not infected, decides to basically save the other robots, and blah 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 blah. We understand, we get it. Okay, there you go. This game basically feels like the story at least, the story feels like a more hip and fleshed out version of what we saw with Mega Man, except with a little, like I said, a few twists and turns. Whom the villain truly is vastly different from who you think the villain really, really could be. So, yeah, it's very different, very different. With all that being said, let's get to let's get to the story is nothing special, but it gets the job done. And with all that being said, let's get to what the let's get to what I like to call the meat and potatoes are, which is my overall thoughts about the game after the cut.
私のものなのだわ。ダイナ。あー、なーにあなたまだ動いてるのね。だったらその電気、私によこしなさいよ。
Okay then, these are my overall thoughts about this game. What can I say? Except it's fairly well done. Some people are saying this game is terrible, but it's not bad. It's really not bad. Most of the people who are like fuck this game are people who the only reason they're saying this is because they feel in their mind that like they don't like what Keiji Inafune's been doing, and I understand it. I get it, but seriously, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? And I was one of those people who was like, man, this game's gonna be a piece of shit. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's just not. It's not good either. It's not bad, but it's not good. The game is solid. It's a solid game. And I think that most of the people who have reviewed this title, the reason they're reviewing the game the way they are is because in their head they're basically they're comparing this game to other AAA titles. You can't. So when I was basically thinking of a score to give this game, I was going to compare it to another game that was kickstarted and had a certain je ne sais quoi, if you will. So I'm going to compare this game to Shovel Knight. Both games were kickstarted. Both games had incredibly successful kickstarters that went above their budget. Their goals. So let's look at this game in comparison to another budget tier title. Both games are kind of evoking the nostalgia feels. Both games succeed mostly at evoking the nostalgia feels, in my opinion. Now, is it perfect? No, but it gets the job done. I mean, this game, like I said, feels very much like a Mega Man-esque game, just for a more modern age. It's not terrible, and it gets the job done. Same thing with Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight, however, is more of a game in the vein of, say, a mix between Mega Man, Legend of Zelda 2, and your more traditional platformers from back in the day on the NES. This game, not so much. This game is totally like a knockoff of your Mega Man titles. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are, they're like, oh man, these bastards, how dare they? But really, I mean, the game is not terrible. And to tell you the truth, I would like to see a sequel. I really would like to see a sequel to this title. And I'd probably buy it. That being said, I think maybe the only negative that's really in this game is that Keiji Inafune did not handle the PR for this game very well. I think maybe Concept stretched themselves too far. Along with Inti Creates. I really do think they may have gone too far in what they were planning on doing and how they, like the various projects that they were helping to work on. I think Inti Creates also was stretched a little far because I know there was other stuff they've been working on aside from just this. So, the game, like I said, isn't terrible. It gets the job done. I wish people would not look at it as being so, what it is. The game is not terrible. It gets the job done. For what it is, it does what it needs to do, and people just need to calm the fuck down. Is the game perfect? Not particularly. It has some issues that kind of hurt it a little bit, but overall, the game is not terrible. Now, what I will say about this title is this. There was a lot of bullshit going on with Keiji Inafune while this game was being made, and that kind of did not help the PR of this game, and Concept in general. But the game is not terrible. It does what it needs to do. It does what it needs to do very well, and people need to calm the hell down. Just calm down, please, and stop acting like spoiled children, and get over it. Now, does that mean that the game doesn't have some issues? Like I said earlier, there are issues with the frame rate. The controls are sometimes a little unresponsive. This game was not optimized for what it is. For what it is essentially being was not optimized for what it is essentially being made for. So that's not cool that it's not optimized. It's very much unoptimized. But, I mean, if you can get over that, the game is not terrible. So, what can I say about this title overall? Just no questions asked. It's solid. If you want to support a Mega Man-esque title, a Mega Man-esque game from the creator of Mega Man, go for it. I'm not saying this because I have a huge amount of respect for the person, but I think this is an IP that could become better over time, and I would like to see a sequel. So get it, buy it. It's a pretty decent game and worthwhile. If you don't want to get it immediately, I would get it on sale. They'll probably have a Steam sale either this fall or sometime, and that's when I would get it. So with that being said, that's my overall review, my overall verdict. Get it, in spite of Keiji Inafune and concept, not because of. So with that being said, yeah, solid game, and it's worth the buy.